My grandpa was a racist, and when I was 17 years old, my mom told him that he better get over it because his granddaughter was likely going to marry a black person. My grandfather disowned me. He did not speak to me again until the day that he died, when he fell asleep in his pool chair, dropped a cigarette onto the chair, and he burned alive at 92 years old. But he forgot to write me out of the will, and I got $5,000. Here is to breaking generational curses and fuck racism.
Oh, family, you just watched that, and it's so disheartening to know that somebody will actually pass away that in that manner. All right, but when you look at the story of the lady and how the grandfather passed away and everything, you see that it is just a clear indication that racism is not a good thing. Yeah, and those who decide to still continue with this act, continue like teaching their children to be racist, like being themselves racist, it might not really end well for them. Yes, it might not really end well for them. Now, lovely people, we are going to be watching some clips where you see grandmothers, grannies actually talking about races. Some of them, their own father, mother, their own parents, okay, even though they are grannies now, their own parents, their own grannies actually talked up to them about races, and we are going to see how what they said and how they actually took it. All right, so credit to all the creators of these clips. Thank you so much. So let us watch, and please, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do us a favor, hit on the subscribe button down below. Please join the community, and do not forget to always state your opinion at the comment section. Let's watch, and then we'll come back for commentary. Thank you.
My parents were racist. I didn't catch on to it till I was in college, but they were raised that way. My husband's parents were racist, but they were raised that way, and they never saw how evil it was. I remember in grade school, went to a water fountain, and it was for the whites and for the blacks. Why didn't I know then that it was wrong? The water's the same for everybody. Why was it like that? I was so stupid not to realize that that's wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
We've been here for about 2 years. We come every Thursday for an hour, 1 to 2, because there was a lot of vocal people in Ireland who were racist, and we want just to show that there's others who are not racist, and we wanted to make a difference and say that out loud.
You know, there's such a difference from when we were growing up. There was always a little bit, but the absolute hatred and vitriol, and it's just so dangerous now, you know, and that was never when we were growing up. And we just shudder to think, between AI and all the rest of it, what our grandchildren are growing up into, you know, and how they will be able to discern the truth for themselves.
Ireland's a wonderful country, and we do punch above our weight internationally, and I love living here. But of course there's always issues. Racists get an awful lot of airtime. They make a lot of noise, but the majority really just don't speak out, and so we're just trying to address that silence.
Do you think having grandchildren changes your perception on the future, or maybe your activism as well?
We're aware that we're coming to the cliff edge and falling off, and in a way you could kind of say, well, I'll be out of I'll be off the scene, so what does it matter? But when you have grandchildren, you kind of think, oh no, they're going to be here, and indeed our children will be here, and their children will be here, and we'd like just to put it on record that we don't agree with the silence, and we don't agree with the racism.
We need nurses, we need doctors, we need people. Now we have a problem with housing, but the problem is getting staff, you know, for a lot of things. So we want people to come and feel welcome. Now we appreciate there is a housing difficulty, there are difficulties with hospitals, you know, but it's kind of like to try and make everybody feel there's room for everybody.
We get huge positive feedback from people who pass us every Thursday. The vast majority of people are applauding or thumbs up, and so there's only very, very few who say you should be ashamed of yourselves.
So you two were born in southern Georgia and spent most of you, Gloria, your whole adult life, and Mom until you were, what, 50, 40 something, you moved down to New Mexico?
Yeah, I lived in Brunswick and Jacksonville and Folkestone. All my people was there.
So your growing up days, you didn't move away from the South until you were way into an adulthood. So both of y'all know that one of the big topics in the country right now is what's going on race-wise. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff regarding race that people are talking about today, but I recognize y'all were born in the early and middle 1940s, and when you became teenagers in the 1950s, segregation was going on in the South, and racism
Coming to an end then.
Okay, but racism was at its all-time high when y'all, other than slavery. But I want to get your memories of what you remember at that time, what it was like being a teenager, how that made y'all feel, and what you witnessed during these times.
You want to go first?
Oh, yes. We didn't, we was always strictly whites in our school. And when I was coming up, you know, everybody was white. Everybody was white. And then when they started integrating, you know, it still didn't bother me. I didn't like some of the things that the Ku Klux Klan done. I did not like that at all. Even as a child, I knew that's not right to treat the black people like that.
We had a mother,
Yeah.
a Christian mother,
a Christian
that kept
mother.
us straight, that
Yeah.
God loved them just
Yeah.
like He loved us.
That's
And
right.
that's where where my father was racist, very racist.
Yes,
And
that he was.
I didn't know my grandmother was until I talked on the porch we had one day. But the whole, are you through?
Tell me about what you
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
tell me about what you saw your grandmother do.
We were sitting on the front porch and on Jacksonville, Florida. We had big white rocking chairs on this old mansion, used to be at one time, and they fixed it up, and it was a beautiful home. And we were sitting on the front porch, and this elderly black lady come walking by with her hair tied up and taking her groceries home and just walking along. And Grandma said, "Look at there. She thinks she's just as good as anybody." And I'd never heard her say anything like that. And I said, "Well, Grandma, she is. She's not hurting nobody." I said, "She's just taking her groceries home." Well, at the time, the Black Panthers was fighting for civil rights and stuff, and it was all over the TVs. And she says, "Well, you just wait. One day they're going to be marrying and marry white and black and everything, then you'll see. You'll see." Oh, she was right. That's exactly what happened. But I'd never heard Grandma talk that way, talk down, because she wasn't doing anything, just doing home. But if it wasn't for a black woman, my mom, Daddy couldn't have made it. Grandma could not feed Daddy, but there was a black woman that worked for them that was feeding her baby, so she fed Daddy, because Grandma's milk had dried up. He was fed and kept alive by a black woman. And this is something they didn't like to talk about too much, but I know because I heard it. And they thought they used her like a cow, is what they did. Instead of, I don't know if they ever thanked her for what she did for Daddy, but Grandma had 7 children, and Daddy was the baby. And she was in her 40s. He was a change of life baby, they called him. And she got childbirth fever or something. She got sick. Anyway, she had no milk for Daddy. But that black wet nurse fed my father. And you would think that there would be some kind of thankfulness there. I never heard that. I didn't hear that out of them. Matter of fact, they didn't care to talk about it. But she kept Daddy alive with her milk.
Tell me what it was like going out to dinner, going to the movies.
You take the
Okay,
theater.
where we lived in Buxton, Georgia, they had a theater. And it was like, I remember
Small
his name and
town.
everything. He was a very nice man. The blacks had to sit up in the top, and the whites sit in the bottom. And it never bothered me. or anything.
Didn't think about
The
it.
only thing is one
It was
night-
just so common. Y'all really just didn't think anything.
No, because they didn't come down, and they got what they wanted and go up, and and they had their own bathrooms and stuff, and it was just when the Ku Klux Klan came in one night. It was one Saturday night
At the movie theater?
No,
Oh,
they didn't go
Now,
in.
see, she
They-
said she's talking about something I don't know nothing about.
Okay, they was all dressed in the hoods and stuff, and
I never
because
saw
they
that.
said something about they didn't want him to ever can he say it? Let the blacks start sitting down in
The movie
Wow.
theater owner was going to do that, and
well, they had heard something about that anyway, and all the Ku Klux Klan. Anyway, Irma, I think, then went shot to move to the roller rink that night, and so I wanted to go see, but I hadn't seen the movie. They have a movie changed every 2 weeks or something like that. So, and Mom said, well, I really that she not go up there tonight if there's going to be any trouble. And Daddy said, oh, there won't be no trouble. He said, I'll be up there with her. And we got there, there was Ku Klux Klans everywhere. And he said, I'll make sure she ain't going to get hurt or nothing. Anyway, people come in and they started hollering at them or something. Anyway, the police come up there and made them leave. And we went in, watched the movie and everything. Come back out, couldn't see nothing nowhere. But after that, they did integrate. And as far as I know, I've never heard of any problems after that. But I think he kind of woke the people work. See in a small town, and you knew some of these men with these hoods on, and it kind of just faded right on out. But I don't know of any of them ever getting hurt or beat or anything.
what were their, like, do you remember ever seeing what their bathrooms were like, their drinking fountains?
Oh yeah.
All right, now.
I never went upstairs.
No,
was
but this
talking
is in Cresces. I was in Cresces with Mama, and I know you were probably somewhere just looking around. But this little black boy went up to the fountain, and he was real small. And they had the black, and they had one over to the side of white only. And he could not reach. He knew to go to the black one, And this woman that worked there, he went and pulled on her and says, ma'am, could you help me get some water? And she said, she looked down at him like he was the scum of the earth and said, go get your black mammy to help you.
And this is just a little boy.
The little boy.
Just a thirsty
little boy.
little
And the look on
boy.
his face was devastating. I remember that. And the bathrooms, the black bathroom and the white bathroom, you couldn't hardly stand to go past it. Nobody cleaned the black bathroom. But the white bathroom always smelled better. It was like clean. And there's so many things. I saw how they were treated. Like she was talking about the theater. The woman that done our popcorn and drinks, she'd take care of all the white kids first. They were standing in a line outside the window, on the sidewalk. They didn't come in where we were. They stood on a line outside the window. And when everybody was going out, she'd raise that window, and they'd hand her their money and tell them and she'd act like it was dirty, just like that. I remember how she looked. I was a teenager when all this was going on. And they'd get there. It didn't matter if it rained, cold, or anything. They stood out there to get their stuff. And then they'd go back upstairs with it. But, racism was running rampant.
Do you feel like how they're saying it is today compares to how it was then?
It's better today. We don't have all that kind of stuff. Everything's open.
I differ. They have fought for their rights.
Yeah.
They have been the anger in the people. I understand the anger because they had been so mistreated for so long. Mm-hmm. They're being stopped by cops for no reason. Things like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for the history.
Okay, so the Power Lens family, you just watched that. I'm glad that most of these grannies right now, they are old enough to decide what is good for them. You actually heard them. Some of them did not actually follow what their own parents actually told them about racism, okay? And some of them could not really afford to disobey their parents like that, so they had to just maybe secretly do what is right. And for those that actually follow what their grandparents said or their parents, these grannies actually said that growing up right now, they have discovered that they were wrong, their parents were wrong. So right now they have decided that, oh, they are not going to be racist again, because whatever they were doing were so wrong. Yes, it was actually so wrong. So they actually just made the right decision not to be racist again, because we all are human. Okay, so I love the lessons they are learning and how they are actually coming to do the right things. Okay, let's continue to watch, and then we'll still come back for our final commentary.
I want you guys to watch this interaction between this black man and his white in-law. Listen closely, and then we're going to talk about it.
First impression of what? Of me. Of you? Yes, ma'am. Well, I wasn't happy. I really wasn't happy. But you want the truth?
I
you want the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Give me the truth.
Really wasn't happy with her dating a man of another color.
Mm-hmm.
And then when y'all got married, I still wasn't happy that she married into the black family. But I will tell you right now, with a true heart and a true spirit, I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. I don't know of another man other than my husband, and I had to beat the hell out of him. But I don't know of another person that I admire as much as I admire you, and love as much as I love you.
Oh, thank you,
take
Granny.
care of my families.
Thank you, Granny.
You take care of my family so beautifully. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you like a son.
Love you too, Granny.
And there's nothing I won't do for you.
Love you too.
You're a wonderful, wonderful person.
Thank you.
I wish white, black, and all were as good as you are.
Now, to me, when I watched that, it got me kind of emotional because it really showed the grace that he had on her to be patient with her family, and particularly with Granny and her, preconceived opinions and ignorance, and the fact that she was able to change her entire perspective simply by seeing who he was and learning his true character beyond skin color, which is exactly what MLK fought for, right? Let's judge a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Because honestly, her type of ignorance is seen in every other group. Black, white, Hispanic, everyone. But sadly, the comments from black people were this. Aw, she finally loves you because you're beneficial. Aw, isn't massa sweet? I see nothing refreshing about this. Hell to the absolute not. The way I didn't crack a smile, not once, shaking my head. What the actual F? The bar is low. This is weird. And to those people, I say this. Learned behaviors of ignorance take time to unlearn. And thankfully, that man had enough grace on his in-law to allow her to learn exactly who he was beyond his skin color. And it changed her perspective. It changed her life. And you guys are mad. You're mad because she admitted she was wrong and ignorant and changed her entire perspective. You're mad at that. I have a question. Are you equally as mad at Black Americans who have her same type of ignorance against white people and interracial relationships? Because they exist. Like I said, ignorance plagues all races, all nationalities, and all groups. And the only way to combat that is by doing what this man did. Allowing his in-law to learn exactly who he was. Not based on his skin color, but based on his character. And as for the angry people in the comments, bless your heart.
The whole car was empty except for this black soldier sitting in a seat. And I could have sat anywhere, And my brother goes to this poor soldier. I felt bad for him. Don't you see my mother standing? Get up and give her your seat. I could have sat. There was 100 seats there I could have sat in. And we were all, shh. And I'll say this for that soldier. He would not move. Good for him.
Back in my day, this sign was easy to understand.
Back in your day, wouldn't that have been in black and white?
Oh, never mind, that'd have been white only. Back in your day, there wasn't indoor plumbing. Back in your day, would you have been allowed to cut your hair that short? Back in your day, you definitely wouldn't have been allowed to have a platform to speak on. I mean, that doesn't look like the kitchen. Back in your day, isn't that where you should have been? I mean, I'm not surprised you can understand what pictures mean. Back in your day, you only used hieroglyphics. Also, Granny, that's a single-use bathroom in your home that you put a sign on. Even the point you're trying to make isn't made because that person simply used it and left and caused you no harm other than you had to wait for the bathroom. Is that really the problem? Can't hold it anymore? Makes sense. You've been around since back in your day.
Wow, this is very, very interesting to know that they have actually like realized what is right, and that whatever that was being done in the past were just things that were wrong. These grannies, these are aged people, these are elderly people. They can't actually come out here to lie for the decisions they have taken, or how they saw the whole situation, or whatever situation they went through as far as having a racist family, or parents coming from a racist family is concerned. So they can't actually come here to lie. So I feel like this is actually lessons for a lot of young ones to actually learn from. Yeah, a lot of young ones have to actually learn from these lessons that our grannies, our elderly, our aged people are coming here to tell us. So it's not just, don't take it as a story. Yes, don't just take it as a story. Try to learn from it. Okay, try to pick out something from it and see the good out of it. All right, lovely people, let me to get your opinion at the comment section. What exactly do you have to say about this? Do you feel like these grannies did the right decision, as some of them actually maybe disobeyed their parents and doing what is right? Even some of them even did it secretly. All right, and because they saw that whatever that was happening was not actually the right thing. So what do you think? Do you think it is a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Let us get your opinion at the comment section. Thank you so much, and please do not forget to join our community by subscribing, liking, and sharing. See you in the next video. Bye.